the game. You don't play to just play it. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm for you. Can't wait. Let's go.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. One of the greatest. Mike Leach is the man for that. Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Cheap Seats podcast. I'm Wire to Wire Gene, and I'm striking out the side. Oh, wait, that was Zach Wheeler. That's okay. My fault. I'm Wire to Wire Gene. I'm striking out the side, and with me, I got the Prince of Production of Sports Empire Network, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling tonight, Kyle?
I'm good. Another week, another chance to talk about some interesting topics with you all. I mean, would love to see my Red Sox in the playoffs, but obviously that didn't happen. I'm still having fun watching them, though. I will say that.
It's a down year for Boston sports. Like, I don't want to – I'm not trying to, turn the wedge. We're going to talk about that tonight. It's a little down year for Boston sports.
It is. Well, I mean, look, the Celtics are giving me some hope. I'll hang my hat on that.
You know what? You're absolutely correct. But directly below me, I got the man that is, just put it to you this way, right? This is the guy for wrestling on Sports Empire Network. He's also a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And my brother from another mother, CR Media. Chase, how you feeling tonight, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. It's good to do this thing 2 weeks in a row, man. I like it.
Bro, do it from now on. Just from now on. Let's just staple. We'd love having you on here.
Yeah.
But we got some fun topics tonight. And granted, if you see my eyes drifting this way, if you see me looking that way, the Phillies are in the playoffs tonight. You know how dedicated I am to you people? I'm here tonight, and my Phillies are about to go take a 2-0 lead on the Atlanta Braves in this season series.
But that baseball? Is that baseball?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. We forgot what baseball is like in Kansas City. So
I get it. Being a Royals fan, I understand that. We are missing a couple counterparts tonight. No Jory, no Dylan. They will be back eventually. We love them both. But we got some topics for you tonight, and we're going to go over them. And Kyle, being the guy that's running the Prince of Production on the background, all I need you to do is introduce the topic by showing the graphic.
I got you.
Ooh, where are we going first? I like it.
We'll change the view. There we go. We'll go with mine because the NBA season, not that far off. And everybody's talking about duos. You got the Dame, Giannis new pairing and everything. So it's just simple. Top 5 duos going into this new season. I'll go first since it is my topic, and then we'll go Chase and Gene.
I like it. Top 5 NBA duos.
Yeah. I actually went Jokic and Murray as number 1. Look, they're the champions. You got to give them that. Although I feel like Denver hasn't been talked about at all this offseason. The attention's been on, Dame or Harden and everything like that. But I still think when it comes down to it, they're the best duo for right now because they are the champions. 2, this one might be controversial, I don't know, but I went KD and Booker. And I know a lot of people looking at Phoenix and thinking it's not going to work or whatever, but you got to be honest with yourself. KD and Booker, you just look at those two. They're dynamic offensively. Defensively, whatever. But I think they're still going to have a very productive season, so I put them at 2. 3, I went Tatum and Brown. Could be a little homer in me. We'll see what you guys say, but I feel like Tatum has continually.
It is homer. Can I interrupt you?
I had a couple of guys on there. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to understand something real quick.
Yeah.
Do you have Jaylen Brown as a better player than Dame Lillard?
I'm not a Dame.
Oh, do you have Jaylen Brown as a better player than Dame Lillard?
I think better overall player. Yes, I would say Dame is a better scorer. That's what I would say.
Okay. I'm listening.
Because, I mean, Dame doesn't play any defense.
That's
at
fair.
all.
That's fair. I love you, Kyle. I love it. It's Homer.
I mean, I did have him at 3. I could have put him at 1. But okay, so I feel like Tatum will take another step. Whatever that looks like, we'll see.
Okay.
And I feel like Jaylen Brown has progressed each season. He's pinpointed something in his game to fix, and he's done that each year. And I'm just a fan of Jaylen Brown because of what he says, like off the court. A lot of his stuff that that doesn't factor into this, but I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan. I think he'll be a better version than he was at the end of last season when everybody was making fun of him with the left hand and everything.
He still can't dribble with his left.
He made left-handed moves last night against.
All
right. So 4, I did go with Giannis and Dame at 4.
Okay.
I know that Giannis is an all-time competitor and all that. With Dame, I just have questions about his ability to play at a championship level. I think the pairing is going to work because, we'll have to see, I guess, with Adrian Griffin and his system, but putting those two in pick and rolls and everything will cause issues for a lot of defenses. And then 5 might be the one that might be the most controversial. But I gave this spot to kind of an up-and-coming duo. I went with Fox and Sabonis.
Oh. Where's Freddie at? Get Freddie in the chat.
Look, okay. So I know a lot of people will be like, where's LeBron and AD? Obviously. But for me, it's like, I know what I'm getting from LeBron. AD is still a question mark for me because he'll show for like a week or two how great he is. Then he disappears. Then he reappears. And it's just like, I would have them at 6, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I just wanted to show some love to Sacramento. Fox and Sabonis, what they did last year. That's the only reason why I put them up there. To be honest with you, I probably could have put some other duos in there, but
you definitely could have.
Yeah, but I'm just like, look, I like De'Aaron Fox. I like what he and Sabonis are doing.
I just need to understand something. I'm just trying to understand. It's like a projection duo list. Are you asking? And also, are you saying is the best duo as far as how they play together? Or are you saying the best duos and like the 2 best players that are on the same team?
Well, I kind of looked at it as how they play together.
Okay.
Which
I did the list based off the best 2 players. Like if I was starting a franchise, if I had 2 guys, like I could pick any groups 2. That's how I did my 5.
And that's fine because it's kind of an open-ended one. I kind of wanted to see how like each of you would kind of take it. I did it off of like how they play together and like the duos that I like and feel like they'll performance-wise together. But like I said,
1 year and 1 year only.
Mm-hmm.
I did my duos list, and Chase, you can go next if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just going to explain the way I did my duos was based off of like the best duos like together going into the NBA season. So like prime example, Giannis and Dame aren't going to be on my top 5 because we have no idea how they play together.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen guys go from free agency to new teams, and we think, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest duo trio ever. And there's, dissension in the ranks. They can't get along. They don't mesh well together. They don't communicate well on the court. So number 1 was very easy for me. I got Joker and Murray. The NBA champs. I mean, they were the best duo last year. They're the best duo in my mind going into the season. Number 2, I have Tatum and Brown in Boston. Just because Boston to me is an odds-on favorite to win the finals this year. I like the way they play. The other duo. This number 3 is going to be kind of like my controversial pick here. I'm going with Kyrie and Luka.
Holy shit! Where am I at? Where am I at?
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably for entertainment purposes, yes, those 2 are probably top 5 because you're just like, when's it going to blow up? when does Luka just lose his mind? I get it. It's crazy, but okay. I see where you're going, Chase. I see it.
And 4, I would be ridiculous if I didn't put Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on here.
Maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, I have questions about Clay, but yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. And then 5, I really didn't want to put LeBron and AD. And to agree with Kyle, like he's right. I mean, to be a great duo, one of y'all's got to be there. Or both of y'all got to be there all the time. And AD he can't stay healthy. But I'm gonna throw them at 5, just because if it wasn't them, then it was Moran and Jackson.
Number 5 for me is Tatum and Brown. Never mind. I'm gonna go 5 through 1. Okay. My number 6, I really wanted to put him on the list, and I probably, you know what? Yeah, I'm changing it. I'm changing my list right now on the show. Tatum and Brown are off the list. They're off the list. My number 5, I'm going with the MVP and Maxey. Give me Embiid and Maxey. You want to talk about Homer on the show? I'll go full Homer. I think Maxey takes another leap forward. Give me the MVP and Maxey at number 5. I'm taking Tatum and Brown off the damn list. Now, keep in mind, I put $500 on the Celtics to win the NBA Finals. I think they're the best team in basketball.
Yeah, agreed.
If we're talking about duos, it's not like it's like I won't have Jokic and Murray 1 either, just to be clear.
Okay.
I'm doing it based off if I was starting and I could just grab 2, like this 2. So for number 5, give me the MVP and Maxey, and we'll take the Boston Celtics out of it. Screw Boston. You heard me. Number 4, I got LeBron and AD. If you don't know how good this duo is, just watch last year's playoffs. They basically made a run to the Western Conference Finals by themselves. You had guys coming. Who was? Oh my Lord! They had a guy come off the bench that wasn't even on a roster that scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. What was his name? Come on, help me out. Oh, I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. LeBron and AD are my number 4. Number 3, I have Dame and Giannis. They're going to play so well off each other. It's a projection, obviously, but Dame Lillard, top 5 point guard in the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo, best power forward in basketball. It's got to be one of the top duos. They're going to play well off each other, and the spacing that Giannis is going to get Dame is going to give them a lot of offense. Number 2, yeah, we got the champions. We got Jokic and Murray. Those 2 guys play perfect off each other. Pick and roll, scoring. Offensively, they're great. But if you're going to give me any duo in basketball to start my team with, like finally give them a full off season together, you watch out for what Kevin Durant and Devin Booker do this year. That Phoenix Suns team offensively is going to be ridiculous. And the spacing that they create for each other, the only thing I don't like about Phoenix is they don't have a true point guard to really set them up. But as far as a duo goes, if I'm picking 2, I'm going to the court. We got a 2-on-2 tournament. Give me those 2 snipers. Give me D-Book and give me KD. That'll be my top duo in basketball. But like, I think it's blasphemous for both of you guys to have Tatum and Brown so high.
I mean, weren't they one of the highest scoring duos last season?
Okay, but didn't you just tell me a minute ago it wasn't just scoring?
And well, the next point would be both of them are good on the defensive end as well.
I just look at those 2 and watch them crumble versus the Miami Heat. Just like I look at Maxey and Embiid crumble against the Boston Celtics. Don't get it twisted. My real top 5 list has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown ahead of Embiid and Maxey. But if we're projecting. I got to have some hope in Philadelphia. I'm going to go Maxey and Embiid as my number 5.
Absolutely. The Eagles are undefeated. You're watching Phillies playoff baseball right now. Why not, man? Why not?
Why not us? Why not us? Yeah. Last year we were the number 2. We were like the last calendar year we finished number 2 in everything. It was just ridiculous. The friggin' Eagles second in the Super Bowl, the Phillies second in the MLB. it was painful to watch. So this year we need championship. We need to bring another championship back to the city of brotherly love. But as far as duos go, and I kind of want to break off a little discussion about this. We have 4 topics tonight, so we have time. And I like that De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, like I like that you're bringing something else new to the table. But like, if we're being honest with ourselves, like you putting Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox on a list ahead of Maxey and Embiid, it's laughable. It's laughable.
Well, my only thing was, I feel like it should be Maxey and Embiid, but there's still that Harden issue. That
don't worry about Harden. He won't be on the team.
Well, I'm assuming that he won't, but you never know, Morey and all that's going on there. Because look, I saw Maxey in the preseason game last night, and I was the first basket he took. I was like, they don't need Harden anymore. Harden can go. And the fact that they keep trying to talk about, oh, he showed up, he's trying to integrate. No, keep him away. Just move on from him. I don't understand what all this is about. Like, well, if Harden wants to stay here, we'll make a way. I'm sorry. With all that he's done, he's got to go. And if Clippers are the only team that can get it done, find a way to get it done tomorrow.
Bro, give me Norman the Floorman. I give me them all. I don't care. Give me the package of role players, and I'll be happy. Get Harden off my basketball team. I want Maxey to be able to develop.
Yeah, I feel like without Harden in the equation, Maxey easily could be a 25-point per game guy.
Completely agree. I love him.
And that's like effortless 25.
So you put him with the MVP'd. You're going to tell me see, that's the point, right? Like, if you put those two together, I think that they're a top 5 duo in the NBA. I can understand removing LeBron and AD. I understand it. I don't agree with it. I think that, and listen, don't let Freddie catch me talking well about the Lakers. But I mean, LeBron's still LeBron. He's still one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. And AD went on. AD was an MVP candidate in the beginning of the season. Remember how often Jordan was bringing up, well, is AD an MVP candidate? And he got hurt and he did AD things. He became street clothes again.
Right. And look, I root for AD. I would love to see a season
root for AD.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Celtics fan. You're not a real
no. I don't mean like root for him like that, but I'm just like, for all of the hype and the ability he has, I would love to see what a full season of AD looks like. Like, he hasn't played more than 60 games in, like, I don't even know how long. It's been like probably like his second year in New Orleans. And just these little gaps in the season, it'd be like a week here where he's putting up like 40 and 20, and you're like, oh, so that's AD. And then it's like, oh, it's 8 and 6 with a nagging knee or something. It's just like, bruh, come on now. So, I mean, look, I had them as just off the top 5, but like I said, that's more about AD as a question mark of durability.
Just can't imagine like sitting at home and being like, you know, we could have De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis or LeBron and AD, and we were like, you know what? Let's go with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis.
Gotta light the beam, all right?
Dude, I love that. That's actually one of the coolest things Sacramento's ever came up with.
Yeah.
I give him credit.
Honorable mentions, just want to bring up nobody said Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Or Jimmy Butler and Bam in Miami.
Well, I can't say Kawhi Leonard and Paul George because I look at them too and I say, well, are you guys going to play 14 games together this year? 15? I want to look this up. Since Kawhi's knee injury in the bubble, how many games have they played together in those next 3 seasons? It's got to be less than 45.
It seems like it, yeah.
Like, how many games have they played on the court next to each other? I don't think that number. I feel like if we got that number, it would be less than 45 in 3 years. Like, they're great players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Not doing it. All right, let's get into the next topic then.
All right.
Unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
Negative Ghost Rider.
We got 4 topics tonight. We're using one of Jory's. What do we got next? Ghost Rider. I like that. Oh, this is my topic. We're watching them right now. So if you had to shoot, now, I'm going to tell you where this stems from, right? And someone, I know that my man JG won't be listening to the show. I get it. He's watching the Braves. Like, I should be watching the Phillies. Understood. But this all stems from like a couple conversations that happened on the morning show. I hope Chris is still in the chat. I know Mo's been here.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlanta Braves threw trash on the field over a correct call, by the way. Like both the catcher, the Atlanta Braves organization, JT Realmuto, all said, yes, it was catcher's interference. They threw trash on the field. I didn't see this as a national story. This wasn't talked about as a national story. And then JG brings up on the show, he's like, well, Philly fans, and they're the worst, and they're this, and that. And he said, we threw batteries at Santa Claus. Well, first of all, you got your incidents mixed up. We threw batteries at JD Drew, and then we threw snowballs at Santa Claus. So get your incidents right. It's fine. But I think the Philadelphia fan is the most passionate and most misunderstood fan in all of sports. The Philadelphia fan. So I posed a question, and you can only answer one of 2 ways. Are the Philadelphia Phillies, Eagles, Philadelphia fans the worst in all sports or the best? And you can only answer one of 2. That's it. Okay. And you have to say it as a whole, right? Philadelphia Phillies, Philadelphia Eagles, 76ers, whatever. It could be best or worst. Now, I get it. You know, Kyle probably thinks the Boston fans are the best, and Chase probably thinks the Kansas City fans are the best. And I get it. Both fan bases, in my mind, are top 10, 100%. I think that those are real fan bases. The Chiefs fans, I think they're real fans. Like, I love that fan base. Boston fans, that's true sports fans. However, I'm going to make you pick. You're going to call them the worst, or you're going to call them the best today on the show. Are they the worst? You know where I stand, and I'll give my rant afterwards. But Chase, I'm gonna pass the rock to you first.
I'm gonna immediately knee-jerk reaction say the best, and the reason why is because there's no middle ground. Like you said, it's either the worst or the best. I'm not gonna call them the worst. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I lived in Dallas for 5 years. I can tell you who some of the worst fan bases are. Hint, hint. I mean, every team, look, Kyle, for example, there's some fans of the New England Patriots that, condone and put on a pedestal the cheating, the so-called cheating that the New England Patriots have done. Mm-hmm. And Kyle, we talked about it the other day. Kyle condemned it. He was like, that's not, neither here nor there. He was like, I was too young, etc. As a Chiefs fan, Matt Castle got injured on the field. And the fans started cheering when they carried him off the field. And right tackle Eric Winston went on sports media the next day and said, or press conference after the game, and said it was disgusting, it was barbaric that the fans were cheering. I don't condone that. I would never condone cheering when somebody got injured on the field. All types of fan bases have done crazy, silly things. Like I said, unless you live in a place like Dallas, or you live with an Oakland Raiders fan, I'm not going to call Philadelphia the worst fan base by any means. So, and side story, I've heard the story about Santa Claus 3 times from Gene, because when I very first started with Sports Empire, or Gene very first started with Sports Empire, I too was like, hey, you guys used to throw ice balls at Santa Claus. So, and Gene was like, actually, and telling the story. I would have thrown
snowballs at him too that day. And like, the story is so weird. And like, I'm just going to recap it. That's it. But like, they hired a Santa Claus and they had a huge promotion for Philadelphia to get fans to the stadium because we sucked in '69. We were terrible. We were bags over our head terrible. and they wanted to get people to the ballpark, and it snowed. It was like a snow squall. Like it went nuts, and Santa couldn't make it. So they had this huge promo to get kids to the stadium. People bought tickets to see Santa, and there was no Santa, so they panicked. That was a terrible, terrible judgment on behalf of the Eagles to just go, okay, let's just grab some drunk from the parking lot. That was not the move, all right? Let me just be clear, not the move. But they grabbed the drunk from the parking lot and dressed him up as Santa, and he's pulling his beard down and drinking alcohol during the game while he's being paid. So, yeah, kids are crying. The Eagles stink. They threw snowballs at him. Oh, well, it happens. I'd have thrown snowballs at him again. Just to be clear. But I will say this. The batteries at J.D. Drew incident was terrible. But it was one idiot. I don't think that for J.D. Drew, if you don't know J.D. Drew's story, J.D. Drew held out an entire season because he didn't want to play for the Philadelphia Phillies. Didn't want to play for us. Held out the entire season. We wasted a number 1 overall draft pick on him, and we lost him completely. So when he came back to Philadelphia, some idiot threw D batteries at him. Should never happen. It was an absolute joke. He should be in jail. He should be in jail, but don't judge the entire fan base of the Philadelphia fan base by one idiot. One idiot. He's an idiot. He's a moron. But Chase, thank you. I appreciate the compliments about the Philadelphia fan. Yeah, Tennessee fan to a golf ball at Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin. And by the way, Lane Kiffin's a jerk off, right? Like what he did to Tennessee was terrible. It was terrible. He signed there. He had this huge speech about Rocky Top. Chase, you know this. Am I right?
Yeah.
Whole speech about beating Florida and then bailed immediately.
Yep.
Jerk off. Still doesn't deserve a golf ball thrown at him.
No.
Right.
Doesn't mean Tennessee fans are terrible. Just means that Tennessee fan's a moron.
Yeah, we had a Kansas City Chiefs fan, 2019 AFC Championship. The Chiefs lost to the Patriots in overtime. Blah blah blah. I'm sure you remember that, Kyle. You guys were awarded that AFC Championship because D Ford had his arm over the line offside.
Call.
But anyways, there was a guy at that game who had a laser pointer in Tom Brady's eyes. He's banned. He's never can come to Arrowhead GHEA field ever again. Ever. So some people just have to ruin it for the rest of us.
Agreed. So I want to pass the rock to my man, the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards. Kyle, tell me, are Philly fans the worst?
No, and the funny thing is, like,
whoa. Let's back up, Prince of Production.
Yeah.
The answer has to be they're either the worst or they're the best.
I mean,
you can't say yes or no.
They're not the worst, so I have to go with they're the best.
Here! 2 runs. I'm sorry, bro. 2-run home run, JT Real Muto. Let's go.
I don't have the Phillies game on, but I want to know if that literally happened right after you and I, Kyle, admitted that Philly fans were the best.
Right.
It was just perfect timing.
I guess with the 2 options, I would say best because they're obviously close to the best, and then even anywhere in the ballpark are the worst. And I think it's something where certain sections of the country take Philly, Boston, whatever, and take the passion that those fans have and make it like it's a negative thing.
Absolutely. Do you know why? Who's America's team?
Right. Yeah. The Cowboys.
You know who America's team is? I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know who America's team is? And I'll never give the Cowboys that moniker.
Yeah.
Do you know who America's team is? The Green Bay Packers. I'm not a Packers fan.
Agreed.
They own stock in their team. They're the best fans. I'm telling you when I say this, the Packers are the best fans in football. Now, it's not all sports. They're not the best fans in baseball, best fans in basketball. But in football, the Buffalo Bills fans are amazing fans. Sorry. What they did last year, donating, like they donate money to certain causes. Like, love that. Love that. The Bills Mafia is insane. If I wasn't an Eagles fan, I'd be a Bills fan tomorrow. Did you see what they did in London? Went over there and they had the chant going. I'm an Eagles fan that can admit there's great fan bases in all sports. Kansas City, listen, as much as I hate them, Boston, Cleveland, Buffalo, Green Bay, they're the top Seattle, they're the top fan bases in football. And I don't tell me Dallas, don't tell me SoFi, don't tell me San Fran. No. Atlanta, no.
Right, yeah.
But the most what I'm saying is the moniker popular teams, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, everybody's favorite, the New York Yankees. That's why Boston, the Red Sox, get such a bad rep. And that's why Philadelphia, because the evil Philadelphia Eagles have to go up and face America's team twice a year. Now, like I said, it might not be that solidified much anymore because, I mean, when you haven't done anything in almost 30 years, it's hard to call yourself America's team. But I mean, for years, everybody justified Philadelphia, or everybody justified, the Michael Irving talking trash about Philadelphia fans.
Now he loves them. Now he loves them.
Yeah.
You'll notice Michael Irvin's constantly on Philly sports radio. He loves our fans. He obviously, when the Eagles play the Cowboys, he's on the Cowboys side.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Terrell Owens was asked on a radio show, San Francisco morning show the other week leading up to Cowboys 49ers. He goes, who's the better fan base? San Fran or Dallas? He goes, you want me to be honest? Philadelphia. Now, I want to say something about San Fran because I didn't want to be Mo, hear me out here. And I guarantee you Chase and Kyle agree with me. I guarantee it. I'm like 100% sure. The San Francisco fan that's not from San Francisco is a great fan. It's the San Francisco fan that's from San Francisco I can't stand. Dude, when they put like a full Wi-Fi experience in their stadium, I'm like, the football's dead. That's not a football stadium. That's a friggin' Starbucks. It is. It's a Starbucks. Now, 49ers fans that are from Philadelphia, 49ers fans that are from Missouri, 49ers fans that are from wherever, those are great fans. My grandfather's a Joe Montana fan, 49ers fan, wears his 49ers jacket anywhere he goes. That fan, I love to death. But give me the frozen tundra. Give me the Cleveland Browns fan that watched that team stink for year and year and year and year and year that shows up and sells out Cleveland. Give me the dog pound. You know what? Hell, give me the black hole. And I know that, look, I understand there's a lot of idiot Raiders fans. Let me just be clear. There's a lot of idiot Raiders fans. But
they travel well, though.
100%.
Yeah.
Give me the Raiders fan not from Oakland. Well, I don't know if I could say that because I feel terrible for those Oakland fans that lost that team to Las Vegas. That was a complete money move.
Yep.
And baseball team. Jacksonville's another team. They have a pool cabana in their stadium.
Oh.
Don't tell me you care about watching the football game. My best friend is a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. He pays an ungodly amount of money for Sunday ticket every year just so he can watch his Jacksonville Jaguars. But then in Jacksonville, they'll pay $200, $300 a ticket to go swim in the cabana while they watch Jaguars play. It's insane.
It's so dumb. Yeah. Jaguars fans are the worst in sports. But Kyle, I'm passing it back to you because I need a real answer.
No, okay. So I'll say best because you said best or worst. I'll say best. And I think kind of to tie in what you and Chase were talking about, I think in certain sections it's like passion is negative where, if I'm a fan and I can trash the team, because I care and it's like 365 days. I'm in it. I know what's going on. That doesn't make me like a terrible fan because, oh, find something else to do. It's like, no, because I want to see that team do well. And I also think true fans are there. If they slip up and they have a bad season, they'll still tune in. Look, being in Atlanta now, there's a lot of fans down here that if the team isn't good, they could care less because they'll just ignore them. And I feel like that is the absolute worst type of fan to have, which is why Atlanta is always seen as one of the worst sports cities, even though they don't understand why. That is why. Because look, when the Braves were good in the 90s, yeah, everybody loved the Braves here. But then when they went through those couple of years where the Braves weren't doing well, you didn't hear anybody talk about them. They'll talk Georgia football all the time because Georgia football is good, but they won't talk about the Falcons unless the Falcons are like Matt Ryan the Super Bowl year. Everybody here was with Falcons flags on their car and everything. I haven't seen a Falcons flag in probably 2 years down here. But I'll see Steelers stuff down here all the time. And it's just like fan bases like, Chase with the Chiefs. And also another point is like, it's funny that fan bases for teams that do really well all of a sudden get a negative rep because so many of these other fan bases are just jealous of the success. So they're looking for every little opportunity to knock them.
1,000%. That's always my favorite is when I see somebody go, where did all these Chiefs fans come from? Like, listen, pal, we were selling out the stadium in 2012 when we went 2-14.
Yeah.
Okay. The fans paid for an airplane and a banner to fly around the stadium that says fire Scott Pioli, fire Todd Haley, and bench Matt Castle. Paid for an airplane to fly a banner during games. Mm-hmm. So don't.
That's a real fan.
Yeah.
No, can I ask you a question? And just for fun, and I just want to see how this. First of all, I want to bring up one thing. Bryson Stott's sister, Brianna Stott, said yesterday on Twitter. She said, "Hearing the Philadelphia fans sing my brother's song when he comes up to bat, it gives me chills. It's the greatest feeling I've ever felt in my life." What the Philly fans did to Trey Turner earlier this season, everyone expected Trey Turner to come back to Philadelphia and get booed. He was paid $300 million. He was playing terrible. And ever since that standing ovation, he's been the best player in baseball. So I want to ask you guys a question just for fun. It's the greatest moment of your life, Kyle. Greatest moment of your life.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. Graduating college.
Chase, greatest moment of your life.
Probably my kid's birth.
Okay. The greatest moment of my life was watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2018 with my dad and going to Frankfurt and Cottman before he passed away a year later. Show you something real quick. First debut on the show. You guys see that? It's my dad's urn. It's an Eagles logo on my dad's urn. That's my father. He watches every Eagles game with me at the house. People ask me why I don't go out and watch the game. I watch it with my dad still watches the game with me. That's what sports means to Philadelphia. That's what sports means to me. I'm not going out and punching other fans. No, look, let me just go on this tirade for a minute because I know there's idiots in Philadelphia that do this shit. I know there is. There's also idiots in Los Angeles that do this. There's also idiots in Atlanta. This came from an Atlanta radio station where they said, if you see a Philly fan, punch him in the face. He said headbutt him, and then the next guy goes, punch him in the face. It's an Atlanta radio station. You're asking for violence against a Philadelphia Phillies fan because why? Because we're passionate? Because we love our team? There's bad fans in every fan base. What I judge a great fan by, and why I think Philadelphia has the best fans in the world, is because We care. We show up. We're there for every single moment. Dude, go to watch a Phillies playoff game and then watch any other one of these games on TV. It's cheaper to fly to Atlanta, buy a ticket, than go to a Phillies game, and fly back, then go to a Phillies game. It's $300 to walk into the park. That's the demand for Phillies tickets.
Mm-hmm.
When I went and seen the Eagles in the NFC Championship game in 2004, the year Brian Dawkins lit up Algie Crumpler, it cost me $450 for one seat. And I sat in the corner of the end zone. It's not about price. It's not about money. It's about how much and how willing are you to support your team. I love Philadelphia sports. Get it. I just think they get such a bad rap. People always talk about something that bad. How Philadelphia fans, they threw batteries at J.D. Drew. It's snowballs at Santa Claus. But like when something else happens where like a Patriots fan gets murdered at a football game because him and a Dolphins fan got in a fist fight, this happens everywhere. Don't blame the Patriots fan or the Dolphins fan. They're idiots for getting in a fight. God rest the guy's soul. He passed away. Like, I prayers for his family. But like, I got a lot of shit because I said, hey, man, don't make this guy out to be like a saint. He got to fight. Got in a fight. Dolphins fans, Buccaneers fans, Tampa Bay Rays fans, Miami Marlins fans, Jacksonville Jaguars, the whole state of Florida. Those fans are the ones that are the worst fans in the world. They don't show up for their team. They black out playoff games in their own city because they can't sell out. Jacksonville got a tarp to put on the top of their stadium because they couldn't sell out a playoff game and they didn't want to have empty seats.
Yeah.
I love Boston fans. Even though I don't like Boston teams, I love their fan base because they remind me of Philadelphia fans. When everything happened in Boston with the Boston Marathon, and I'm done my tirade after this, but everything happened in Boston with the Boston Marathon with the bombing, Philadelphia took a billboard out and put it in Boston and said, from one tough city to another with love, with brotherly love, we're with you. That's what real cities do.
Mm-hmm.
Real fan bases do. Like, we hate each other when we go on the court. I hate the Boston Celtics. But I respect the hell out of them. Respect their fan base. We hate each other when it's time to go to war. Me and Chase were going at each other's throats the week before the Super Bowl. I love that, man. What?
The night of the Super Bowl.
Oh, but I love the man. I love Chase. I love how passionate he is. He reminds me of me. Same guy, different city. We were born somewhere else. Just have that type of passion, that type of energy. That's great fan base. That's not a bad fan base. But thank you for backing me up. I was hoping to get a JG type on here where someone goes, they're the worst because they do this. That's okay. That's all right. Let's get to the next topic.
We'll just invade it. Before we move on to the next topic, I want to point out something real quick. Anthony Price made a comment that Dallas fans not from Dallas are the worst. I want to nominate Anthony Price having the worst comment of this so far, the worst comment of this show. We appreciate you watching, Anthony. Absolutely, 1,000%. But man, I've never seen something. So, Kyle, you could tell me that the sky is neon green, and that would be more correct than Anthony saying Dallas fans not from Dallas are the worst.
I'll tell you, Philly transplants, like Dallas fans that never been to Dallas, though, are terrible. Like, they're worse than anything I've ever seen in my life. Like, because like they grow up, and this is their whole thought process, right? Why did you become a Cowboys fan? Well, you either grew up in the 90s and you're just the first team I watched in the Super Bowl was the Cowboys, so I became a fan. And blah, blah, blah. You're a front runner. You're a home. Get out of here with that crap. Those Cowboys fans normally turn. They're no longer Cowboys fans. They switch back to Philadelphia because Dallas sucked for 15 years, right?
Yep.
Then there's the second one. Well, I really like the Star. What the Star? Have you ever been to Dallas? No? Okay. And then the third one is my dad was a Cowboys fan. He liked Roger Staubach in the 70s. I mean, it's bad parenting. It is. If you're from Philadelphia and you're a Cowboys fan, it's bad parenting. Sorry, I'm done. All right, what's the next topic, Kyle? Oh,
We were just talking about these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Ask the question however you want to ask it. I feel like I know. I'll rephrase it if I have to.
I was going to ask, but reluctantly, are the 49ers the best team in football right now?
Right now, it's easy.
Yes.
Right now, it's super, super easy. The answer is yes. They're better than, and there's 2 5-0 teams that have a claim to this. It's Philadelphia and San Fran. And right now, San Fran is 100% right now better than the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not the question I'd ask, though. And here's how I'd reword it. And you said yes right away, right, Kyle? Resounding yes, right?
Yep.
Here's how I'd reword it. Do you think the 49ers will finish the season as the best team in football?
I like it.
No, I don't mean win the Super Bowl because you realize not always the best team wins the Super Bowl. The Giants, the year they won the Super Bowl, were not the best team.
No.
The Baltimore Ravens with Flacco, let me help you, not the best team. The best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
But what I want to know is, at the end of this season, do you think the 49ers will be the best team?
No.
That's a good question.
If not, who?
I'm not sure, but what history has shown us is that at some point San Fran is going to do San Fran things and slip up somewhere. Don't get me wrong. I was not a Brock Purdy believer in the offseason when they traded Trey Lance and said, "Hey, we're going with Brock Purdy." I was like, "What are they doing? This doesn't make a lot of sense to me." But obviously I'm a believer of it now. But if you think that Brock Purdy can do enough to keep this team afloat and carry them on to another NFC championship and possibly beyond that, I don't think he can. I don't think he can at all. So
I was not a Brock Purdy fan going into the season. I was actually considered a hater, and I'd self-admittedly a hater. I'll give you a quick story about it. I bet on Iowa State. They were playing Iowa. Breece Hall and Brock Purdy, and I had a whole clip on TikTok and picking them, how they're going to win the game, and Iowa has nothing for Brock Purdy and Breece Hall, and then I watched Brock Purdy get destroyed and look like an absolute awful quarterback, and Iowa beat him 13-3. And I was like, this guy stinks. And then he didn't get drafted. And it was like the last pick in the draft. And then he comes in and he's looking good. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be the system. 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 And he's proven me wrong. I watched one game this year, and I knew I was wrong. And now I've watched all of his games. I watch every game in the NFL. I'm almost done this past week. I have the all 22 NFL Plus. I watch every game in 22 minutes. It gives you the whole game, every play. But I watched that Steelers game, and I was 100% wrong. These kids figured something out. with the right coaching staff and the right system with the right team, he's full. I agree. It's not all system. He's legit. Brock Purdy is legit. I think the 49ers right now are clearly the best team in football. I think they have a good offensive line with the best offensive tackle in football. I think they have the best defense in football. I think they have one of the best offensive minds in football. I'll tell you what, they better figure out a way to make sure to get home field advantage. I'll make that very clear. They don't get home field advantage and they got to come to Philadelphia. They are not winning in Philadelphia in January. It's not happening. It's not happening. Now, if they get that game in San Fran, it might be a different story. But we might not have to see that. We might not have to see that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the season, do you think the San Francisco 49ers will be the best team in football, Kyle? And if not, you got to tell me who.
I think they will. And I think what's an important factor here is, kind of like you guys said, a lot of questions about Purdy. And he's proven people wrong week after week. I think the best thing with him, and this is from somebody who's watching Mac Jones crumble in front of like the nation's eye week after week, I think the confidence that Brock Purdy has right now can carry this Niners team to be the best at the end of the season. Once again, like you said, not Super Bowl because I wouldn't predict that right now, but I could see them winning the NFC, going into the playoffs as the best team because like I don't think the defense is going to fall off. I feel like Purdy has the right understanding that, look, I have McCaffrey behind me, I have Ayuk, I have Samuel, got Kittle. I got playmakers around me. All I got to do is hit the right guy, and we're golden. I don't need to be Josh Allen and scramble around and throw unnecessary deep balls and all that kind of stuff. Play within himself. I think San Francisco's fine. I feel like that's where we're heading right now. I think last season, he learned a lot, and he's just going to be a better version. Like we've seen so far, I think he's going to carry that out. So I would say, yeah.
There's 4 teams left on their schedule that have a chance to beat them. 4 teams left on their schedule that have an opportunity to beat them. I already marked the rest of their games as wins outside of these 4.
I'm assuming like one of those is like a Seahawks game.
I have them at Seattle, at Cleveland, at Jacksonville, and at Philadelphia. After watching them play at home yesterday versus Dallas, I don't think they could lose at home. I mean, they got one tough game at home that you're like, we'll see. And then that's the Bengals. If they start to look a little better, maybe Cincinnati. But that's the only games they could lose on their schedule. At Seattle, at Jacksonville, at Cleveland this week, which I think will be their first loss. I actually think that will be their loss. I think Cleveland, I think that's an upset this week. Just little error. You can't. I don't think they go 17-0. I don't. So
sure. Yeah.
I think they'll lose somewhere, and I think that Cleveland will be that spot. I thought it was going to be Dallas on Sunday night. I was completely wrong. Dak going to Dak. Dude, you know what? I don't want to get too far off topic, but do you notice that Dak Prescott has a lot of? I always find it interesting, and I don't want to go too far on this because I feel like it can get misconstrued real easily. But you ever notice that like fellow players in the league, particularly African-American players, always seem to have an issue with Russell Wilson? Did you ever notice that? Like Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch. Like there's a lot of players in football that seem to have an issue with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like Dak has that same, like you seen last night. I mean, I know Shady McCoy, I get he's an Eagles fan, but like who was the guy last night, the safety that said Dak sucks? You had Trevon Diggs in practice calling him a bitch. Excuse my French. But like, you noticed that he gets a lot of who said was it Amari Cooper that called him the black Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice that, like, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it happens. I don't know where it comes, like what angle it comes from, but I noticed it. Am I off base here?
I mean, it's funny that you kind of put it together. I have heard a lot with the Russell Wilson stuff, and I just never thought about that. Dak kind of gets the same, I guess, fire from a lot of these African American players. That is interesting.
It's just interesting to me. I thought they were going to put it together yesterday. They didn't. They looked terrible. I thought if they were ever going to put it together for San Fran, a revenge game from being knocked out of playoffs 2 straight years by San Francisco, they put it together last night. They did not. San Fran looked great. They shut me up again. I didn't think that was any testament to San Francisco at all. I thought San Francisco's a better team. I just thought Dallas was on a roll and they'd be really up for this game. That this would be their Super Bowl. Well, San Fran showed you they're a much better team. Fred Warner. I think Fred Warner gets a little annoyed when everyone's like the best 4 defensive players in the NFL or Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, and Myles Garrett. Because Fred Warner is the best defensive player in football. I might be an ass for saying that. But the way he affects a football game is just different. It's different. Ah, man, he looked great. That punch out last night on that fumble he had versus Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching him play football, man. I'm jealous. That guy's not on my team.
Yeah.
I think San Francisco finishes the NFL season as the best team in football. I can't lie to you. Christian McCaffrey, what they done, Brock Purdy in that offense, Kyle Shanahan. I just think Kyle Shanahan's going to figure out a way to screw it up. He always does. He always does. He did it in Atlanta. He's done it in San Francisco twice. The year the Rams won the Super Bowl, I could not believe Jaquiski Tart dropped a game-ending interception. We're not talking about the Rams as Super Bowl champions. We're talking about the Bengals or the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
They find a way to screw it up. Kyle Shanahan, I'll never forget it. And I know Chase remembers this. 10-10 game, going into the half. San Francisco gets the ball, has the ball, 1:55 left, and they're running the clock out versus Kansas City. What are we doing? And then they get this huge play to George Kittle that gets called back, and then they run out of time. I feel like Kyle Shanahan gets in his own way so much. And I feel like he'll figure out a way to do that again. I don't know if it'll be in Philadelphia or it'll be in the Super Bowl. I just don't think they'll win. But like people talk about the Philadelphia roster as being the best roster in the NFL. I don't agree. I think the best roster in the NFL is San Francisco. I think they're the best team right now. And I'll tell you right now, I'm scared as death to go into that stadium and play them in January. I need that game to be in Philadelphia. I need that home field advantage. I need Brock Purdy to be in 15-degree weather in Philadelphia and dealing with that fan base. Because if that game's in Frisco, I don't know, man. I got all the confidence in Jalen Hurts to score with them. I don't know. Just an opinion.
That's fair.
Chase, Kyle, any final comments on the 49ers?
No, they're. I mean, I agree with just about everything you said. I just, to me, I think Kyle Shanahan will find a way to screw it up before the NFC Championship. Before, I don't think they make it. I don't think they make it to the NFC Championship. I think that he'll find a way to screw it up.
Taking the Chiefs and the Eagles out of it because we're both fans of the team. Wouldn't the most fun Super Bowl to watch on a neutral turf, warm weather, be Miami versus Frisco?
Absolutely.
That would be such a fun game to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can guarantee health for all those players. And you watch Tua and the Cheetah versus that defense.
Yeah.
Oh,
With Jalen Waddle And then Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and no,
Star power in that game would be insanity.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out. I got to write letters to Tua, Brock Purdy. Got a lot of apology letters to write. Guys, you know what's funny? And I get DMs all the time. I get messages all the time from Wire to Wire, from this show. You know what's funny? And I mean this when I say this. No one will ever remember the 17 times I'm right.
Mhm.
But the time I'm wrong, they blow me up. They never let me forget it.
Yep.
No one, dude, I never heard anybody talk about the fact that I told on sideline to sideline. I said the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to beat the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo going over to London. People are like, nope, not a word. Great call, Gene. Nothing. Oh, I thought you said the 49ers are going to lose. I went 7-5 against the spread this week. Nope. You said the Cowboys were going to win. Okay. You're right. I was wrong.
I hear you, brother. I did it last year, man. I had a lot of great takes and a lot of great points and a lot of great layouts last year. And the one thing what was the one thing, Kyle, that only anybody at Sports Empire could remember? Devontae Adams.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I get why it was a bad take. And I said why it was a bad take. And I defend it why it was a bad take. It was a bad take because you're a Chiefs fan.
Well, yes and no.
No, it was, bro. First of all, let me just tell you something right now. I am not impartial. I am very biased when it comes to my team versus my team's rivals. I am.
I think Jerry Jeudy's I think Devontae Adams is a great wide receiver, but I didn't think he was the best because, like I said, what had happened through previous years was Green Bay wide receivers would leave Aaron Rodgers and go get big contracts elsewhere, and they would underperform.
Yeah,
I thought the same thing would happen to Devontae Adams.
Listen, I had Trey Lance on my top 10 quarterback list last year. I did. Now, no one will remember that I didn't have Aaron Rodgers on it, and people were like, oh, like I remember Freddie put me on his show and told me I'm a moron because I didn't have Aaron Rodgers as a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
He called Mahomes a watered-down Rodgers.
Right.
I mean, Freddie is the king of terrible takes, if we're being honest. Love him to death, but he has the worst takes ever. All right, well, let's get on to the next question. We got one more or two more, Kyle?
We got two more because this is kind of like Chase's follow-up.
I like this one.
Yep. Are the Bills in trouble?
The short answer to that question is no. Let me tell you why it's no. The only reason they are in trouble, Chase, and this is one, is Stephon Diggs is a complete baby. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what it is about the wide receiver position. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They always have to act out and act like complete morons. They do. They act like morons. But like you're gonna lose football games, dude. You can't act like a baby every time you lose. But the reason they're not in trouble is they just beat arguably the best team in the AFC in the Miami Dolphins. Beat the crap out of them in Buffalo. It was an emotional letdown game. They went across the pond and Jacksonville beat them. They had jet lag. They traveled in a day too late, which was stupid. I mentioned that on the show Thursday. I said their travel day makes no friggin' sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they came out flat and they looked good coming down the stretch of the game. I thought that they played 5 quarters. Buffalo wins that football game. They don't play 5 quarters, but if they played a 5th quarter, I think Buffalo would have won that football game. I don't think they're in trouble. I think the only trouble that you can look at in Buffalo, and I was wrong about Buffalo too. I didn't have them in my playoffs. I think they're gonna finish as a wild card because I think Miami's gonna win that division now. But I'll say this: Buffalo beat the crap out of Miami. Now, and I guess Chase has got me questioning myself. Chase, just looking at you, you just got me questioning myself. The Tre'Davious White injury and the Matt Milano injury really kind of make me wonder too. I guess I'll put the meter at, let's put the panic meter at 5.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. Short term, probably no. Long term, I think they are in trouble only because I still don't know in a big spot if Josh Allen's going to make the right decision. And I think that that's going to be the thing that's going to hold them back. I still believe like if they utilize the running game a little bit more and took something off of Allen's plate, that they'd be better off for it. The Diggs thing, it just is what it is at this point. You look around, top wide receivers, they do this all the time. Diggs probably more than most. And I almost feel like it's something where they're jealous of the quarterback position because when the team wins, the first place you look at is what did the quarterback do? Whereas wide receivers are like, well, I'm out here putting up numbers too. And then when they lose, I feel like for certain quarterbacks, it always goes to the players around the quarterback and not the quarterback. So I think because that some of these wide receivers get in their feelings and they feel like they just have to make a scene. I do think that is something that could tear into the locker room because it has to get tiring as a teammate to be like, oh, we're losing. When is the Diggs tirade going to start?
Yeah.
Or we're winning. What's Diggs going to say about he should have gotten more passes thrown to him or something like that? I think the talent's there in Buffalo. It's just I don't know about, like I said, Josh Allen or even the defense now without Milano. I think the Milano injury is going to be a huge one for them.
Yeah, the Milano. It's funny, and I'm not kidding when I say this. I start talking about it, and I start thinking about the defensive injuries. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. But, dude, Ed Oliver is just – dude, I'm telling you right now, Ed Oliver, Jalen Carter are your next Aaron Donalds. Those guys are just stupid in the middle. They're your next Chris Joneses. That force and interior line force. I think the interior lineman's making a comeback. I do.
I agree with that.
So I'll always be a pro player type of guy. Even if you could point to me, night and day that, hey, it's this player's fault, I'm still going to say, no, it was the wide receivers coach, or it's the head coach, or it's the general manager. I don't know why. I always go for the front office or the coaching staff before I will the player. Same thing with Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's an amazingly talented individual. And I think the reason why I don't think Josh Allen is making mistakes, I think there's a lot of coaching mistakes for the Buffalo Bills. And that's my thing. I don't think that Josh Allen could get to the big game and blow it. I think that Josh Allen would more than likely take that team to the big game and the coaching staff would somehow blow that. You go back to the 13-second miracle in Kansas City. Yeah. How do you let Travis Kelce catch that ball? That's not Josh Allen's fault, but Josh Allen's going to get a rep.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, of course you can.
You know how you let that happen?
No.
You have the best quarterback and the best tight end in the world on the same page mentally, and a play that wasn't even in the playbook. They ran to an open spot in the field, and they're so connected because they've played so much football together, and they're so good. I don't think that's anyone's fault, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the only fault I have in that is if Buffalo goes, hey, guys, let's put 7 guys on Travis Kelce and make sure he doesn't catch the football, because the whole world knew where that football was going.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree, but that's why I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's Josh Allen's fault. If the Bills don't make it, or if the Bills crumble halfway through the season or at the end of the season, I think it's because of the same reason why they haven't been able to close the deal yet, and that's because of coaching and personnel.
Help me understand something real quick. Since the 2019 season was the season that the Patriots won the Super Bowl over 2018-2019, where they won. over the Rams, 13-3, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, let's just go through Super Bowl winners. I just want to go through it real quick. You have, who was the year after the Patriots?
Kansas City, Tampa Bay,
Chiefs, Bucks, Eagles. Oh, no, sorry, Chiefs, Bucks, Eagles didn't win. So
Rams.
2021, Rams,
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yep. Okay, so every single team since Tom Brady has left New England has had an offensive-minded head coach.
Yes.
Defensive-minded head coaches are on the way out. Sean McDermott is a DC.
Defensive-minded coach.
And when Brian Daboll left that team, I felt like that team was deflated. You need a world-class offense coordinator on his come-up year because he won't be there for more than 1 year. If he's a world-class offense coordinator, guess what? He's going to be head coach next year.
Yep.
DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh are the last of a dying breed of defensive-minded head coaches that are leading football programs. You got Tomlin. You got there's not many of them. Harbaugh was not. Harbaugh was a special teams coach. He was the Eagles' special teams coach.
True. Yep. You're right.
I don't know. Just an opinion. I think they're of a dying breed, though. It's funny because that's going to lead into our next question.
Yeah.
They're a dying breed. I got a big. We only have 18 minutes left. Can we move to the next question?
Yes.
Because I really want to. I feel like this is going to be the point that we're going to talk about the most tonight.
Actually, I'm going to have to dip out.
What?
Yes. However, I do want to answer this question before I do dip out. And is Bill Belichick, Jory asked, this was Jory's question actually, and Jory's not here tonight. So is Bill Belichick need to be pulled away from the general manager spot, or does Robert Kraft need to take that general manager spot away from Bill Belichick? I think the answer is no. And this is so hypocritical of me, right? Because the last question I was, I'm the most pro player guy. I'm always going to side with the players over front office people, right? But there's just, if the Pittsburgh Steelers announced tomorrow that they were looking at moving on from Mike Tomlin, I'd say you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. Mike Tomlin has had that team over 500 and in playoff contention every single year he's been a head coach. And you're looking at Bill Belichick, who created a dynasty, who helped create a dynasty in New England. Now, are we really talking about pulling anything away from him or him being on the hot seat or anything like that? Any type of talk like that? It's just goofy to me.
Before you go, can I do something for you real quick? Because I'm going to tell you how wrong you are.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'll just do the first 5 rounds of draft picks. I don't want to waste everyone's time. Since 2018, first round pick Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, Duke Dawson, second round, Jawan Bentley, fifth round. Would you say it was a successful draft, Kyle? Yes or no?
No. But Bentley is a player, so I'll give him that.
Hold on. He's a fifth rounder, but he's a player. 2019, N'Keal Harry, Jojuan Williams, Chase Winovich, Damian Harris, Yodini Costa. I don't know who that guy is. Hajada Fromate, whatever, Froholt. I don't know who that guy is. Jarrett Stidham, Byron Cowart. Successful draft?
No.
Okay. Kyle Duggar, Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, Devin Asia, Dalton Keeney, Justin Wasa. Successful draft?
No. All of the early picks there were better than the previous ones.
I get it, but find me an offensive successful player. I'll get there. Mac Jones, Christian Barmore. That's their best pick in the last 5 years.
Yes.
Ronnie Perkins, Ramondre Stevenson, Cameron McGrone.
Stevenson's been a good pick, but yeah, I see where you're going.
Cole Strange, Tyquan Thornton, Marcus Jones, Jack Jones, great pick. Pierre Strong, Bailey Zappi. Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, Marte Mapu, Jake Andrews, Chad Ryland. We can't say this draft yet,
Right.
but you need to take the general manager role away from Bill Belichick. He is doing an absolute awful job at picking talent and getting offensive players on the draft. Just saying.
I mean,
gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
See you, Chase.
Absolutely.
So, look, my thing with the draft is like, I think a lot of what Belichick's issues are from the outside looking in is he doesn't go with like the consensus picks. He's the guy who there's a position he's going to target. There's a certain type of player. He doesn't care where he takes them. He's going to take them when he takes them. And I get it that doesn't work in a lot of instances because, look, the Cole Strange pick was, I think, mocked by Sean McVay or whatever. But Belichick went into that draft like, look, we need an interior lineman. There's one there in the first round. Go ahead and take him. Fine. Now, if you look back at it, would you say Cole Strange has been a great interior lineman? No. But can he get there? Sure. I think it's going to be a tricky situation with Robert Kraft because I think this offseason, Robert Kraft kind of showed he's getting more involved. He's letting his opinion be known a lot more now. So I do think at a certain point they're going to have a conversation. I don't know if Robert Kraft, out of the probably like respect for what Belichick has done for that franchise, whether or not he'll actually force Belichick to take it away from him. I think it'll come down to whether or not Belichick, at his age, maybe feels like, look, it's too much for me right now. I just want to focus on coaching, get a GM. I think that's the only way you get the GM position away from Belichick. And
so you think they'd have to fire him for them to get a GM in there?
Like I said, I think it's going to be something where Belichick feels like he just needs to slow down a little bit and he's going to have to stop being a GM. Someone has to go.
Yeah, Bill hasn't scoped out an offensive GM since Nam. He's right. Cottrell is right. The dude, look, you keep treating this team like it's the Tom Brady Patriots and crafting a team around Tom Brady, and you're going to keep failing. That's not the personnel. You cannot win in this league with Juju Smith-Schuster on a knee that's about to blow up and a bunch of scrubs at the wide receiver position, 2 power running backs, Mike Gesicki, who couldn't block you.
Yeah, but I mean, they when they brought in Gesicki, it was clearly for receiving purposes. They weren't going to look for him to be a blocker.
2 tight end sets are dead, bro. They're dead.
Well, that's just a case of their 2 tight ends are probably their
best 2 pass catchers?
Top pass catchers. And I could say he can stay on his GM. I think it's the people around him that have changed over the years that have affected the way. Because back when he had like Pioli and guys around him, I feel like those guys would push back on Bill a lot more than I don't even know who's around him at this point. And I think that's where the problems become. I think there's a lot of people who are around him where it's like, Bill likes this player. They're like, yeah, Bill, let's go get him. Instead of saying like, yeah, he's fine, but why don't we take this guy? I feel like if you had more of those people around him, the Patriots would probably be better off. I don't think Bill is a terrible GM. It's like you said, offensively, he just doesn't know. But there's a lot of defensive guys that he's picked who are really, really good players.
Agreed.
So I think in that case, he's not a terrible GM. He just has a blind spot to offensive talent. I can agree with that. I would still say the Mac Jones pick, I think at that point, Bill was ready to take Mac Jones or Justin Fields, whichever one fell to them. Because I like in the back of my mind, I think Belichick probably would have loved for Justin Fields to fall there. It's just that Chicago jumped ahead of them and took him. So he just took Mac Jones. And Tom Brady can go in with nobody's. Mac Jones cannot. Rushing attack's very vanilla. I could also say that the rushing attack's vanilla because the offensive line has so many questions right now.
Can I read that out loud? Can you put that comment on the screen real quick?
Yeah.
He says, Tom Brady can go in with nobodies. Mac Jones cannot. Rushing attack is very vanilla. The Patriots couldn't have an explosive offense if I lit a stick of dynamite in Mac Jones's helmet. I love that. Because it's accurate.
But it's also, you know, the whole Belichick talk is, and this is kind of a point that I've made somewhat before. It's like a lot of these people who sit on ESPN and stuff, a lot of them played on teams or root for teams that failed during Belichick's dynasty with Tom Brady. And now because the Patriots are struggling, they're just loving life right now because they get to criticize them. But it's like everybody's overreacting now because they're like, oh, this is the worst 2 or 3 game stretch in Belichick's career. It was 20 plus years of success, but because of 2 to 3 games against really good defenses, now all of a sudden it's Belichick as a coach is a problem, as a GM, he's terrible. Like, it was never going to be the same when Tom Brady left. I knew that. Now, some Patriots fans who were delusional and thought that it was just to be a seamless transition to Mac Jones and it was just going to continue, they're the ones who I feel like have made this an issue. I'm okay if it takes a couple of years because, look, Belichick said this week, kind of have to start over. And I think that means probably offensive philosophy. What that looks like, I have no idea. But it's not like he's a terrible drafter. It's just that, yes, he could be better offensively. And because I wouldn't say take it away from him. But somebody needs to be put as like an assistant or something that can tell Bill, no, stop. We don't need a defensive tackle here. Get a wide receiver. Get this kid from whatever school, explosive plays, or whatever. That's what I think they need to do.
I don't disagree with you. I do think they need a general manager. And I understand what you're saying, but like I don't even care if you don't like call him a general manager and you let Bill keep the title and you have somebody behind the scenes being like, dude, you got to go out and get a wide receiver here. You got to get it. If I'm the Patriots, I completely tank at this point. I go draft one of these star quarterbacks that are coming out, and I completely tank. If I was a Patriots fan, I'd want to go 1-16. I give up on the season. Throw my hands up. It's done.
Which, I mean, that could be what Belichick says. We got to start over. That could be what he means. Look, we'll continue to throw Mac out there. If he figures it out, cool. If not, we can say we tried with him for 3-4 years, and he's not the guy, and we'll move on. Because we know Belichick.
Because we could start all over with Caleb Williams.
Absolutely.
It might reinvigorate Bill Belichick's career.
It might, yeah. And the fan base would be fine with that. And we know Belichick doesn't care about guys he lets go. You know, he let go of Lawyer Malloy, Drew Bledsoe, and people thought he was nuts.
Bro, that Lawyer Malloy, that when he let go of Lawyer Malloy, it was the greatest, like, come centerfold moment when Buffalo destroyed them week 1. Yeah. And then week 17, New England did the exact same thing to Buffalo that Buffalo did to them week 1. Mm-hmm. It was the best full circle moment I've ever seen in sports.
Yeah. I mean, because people thought he was nuts. So you traded Malloy to Buffalo in your division. Why? Then he turned around and did it again with Drew Bledsoe. Send him to Buffalo. People thought he was nuts. And it worked out fine. So I think maybe this season's going to be a wake-up call. I think the Robert Kraft inserting himself more into things will be a wake-up call. And we'll have to see what next year looks like. Look, as a fan, I could watch this and be like, if they are completely awful and it leads to Caleb Williams, I can see the madness of this season and be okay with it.
I hope that's what you pray for. But that's all we have for this week on the Cheap Seats podcast. I hope that's what you pray for. I appreciate everybody tuning in, everyone in the comments, Cottrell joining us. Missing some Jory action. I know she's dealing with some car issues. We miss our friend Dylan. Chase was on the show this week with us. We got a big picture of Kyle right there. I'm just kidding.
I don't know why it does that.
Just kidding. But any final comments? I got one. I got one final comment after you're done.
No, I mean, another great show. Love Chase. And like you said, Dylan and Jory will be back soon. And I think it'll be even better. I knew Cottrell when I saw him popping in the comments. I knew he was going to come at me for the Patriots, but I appreciate that. But yeah, another great show. And I know you probably have an update, so the floor is yours. 4-0
Phillies. Okay. If you're not watching, turn on the game. And something special is happening. We can't. It's something that you're not allowed to talk about in baseball. In the 6th inning.
Okay.
But turn in to the Phillies Braves game. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Cheap Seats this week. Please download us on Spotify if you get a chance. Give us a like and share. And I appreciate all the comments. So have a phenomenal week. This is the Cheap Seats Podcast. I'm Wire to Wire Gene. That's the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards. And we are signing